So the fact that we're taking off, like, it's really tempting to kind of stay in ground effect, build up your speed, and buzz right over the tasting room and climb out. It's very tempting to do those kind of things.
Halter Ranch traffic, Skyhawk 80991, departing runway 22, will make a right climbing pattern. Depart VFR to the south, Halter Ranch.
There's 50 knots. 55. Gain a little speed before we start climbing out here between these buildings here.
Watch those birds.
I'm Josh, a pilot and flight instructor with a passion for the sky, sharing it with those around me and using it to see the world from a new perspective. Flying can seem super complex, but I've made it my mission to showcase safe practices while enjoying the beauty this world has to offer. Subscribe to climb into the cockpit on future adventures. This is Aviation 101.
0991, Addison Ground, clear to Hotel Yankee India Airport. Via on departure, fly runway heading, expect radar vector, show for a 9er departure.
We're waking up to a misty mountain morning at Halter Ranch, a private winery in the hills outside of Paso Robles, California. In the previous episode, Chelsea and I flew up from Santa Maria, taking in the sights of California's Central Coast, and we strategized an irregular approach to the private runway here at Halter Ranch. It's 3,300 feet long and 25 feet wide with about a 2% grade, and a massive tasting room off the lower end. It's not a super hard runway for a Cessna 172, but it does take a little more attention and planning than your average paved runway. We got the grand tour of the entire winemaking process here and tasted plenty of it along the way. And after a killer dinner and a peaceful night's sleep, it's time to plan our departure out of here, back to Santa Maria. All right, we actually untied the airplane over here, scooted it as far back into this corner as we can, threw a chalk around the wheels because there are 2 more planes coming in, so we wanted to be courteous, make room for them in the parking area. We're gonna move the airplane by hand before we start up, such that we're not gonna gravel blast any airplanes while we're trying to turn out of here and get onto the runway. There's Chelsea. There's a little RV landing right there. Two more planes were on the schedule to drop into Halter Ranch this morning, so we decided to not rush ourselves and just delay our departure until they've arrived and tie down. We stowed the precious cargo in the back and pushed 80991 into position such that we won't blast gravel into any planes when we start up. The wind is calm, so we can do our run-up right here, and when the checklists are complete and we feel ready, we can apply power, let go of the brakes, and begin the takeoff roll downhill toward the tasting room.
All right, we're gonna invert that flight plan.
System test, okay.
And we're gonna send that to the 750, activate. We've got our route.
Well, I had fun with you.
I had a blast. This was like a perfect little, I mean, it was quick. I wish we could have like hung out for a full day here. We'll do it again. Basically, when we're ready for takeoff, we'll probably just rev it up right here. Let go and give it a little right rudder to get onto the center line, hold the stick back, and let the nose start flying first to get the pressure off of it, and then just get off the ground and climb out normally. Lots of terrain out there. Okay, so for this takeoff, we're not going to use flaps, because we don't really have a short runway per se. It's 3,300 feet, but I think all the way to from here all the way to the barricades is like 3,800.
Yeah.
I think it's 3,300 to where it necks down a little bit. So we don't really have a short runway. And this is not a soft field. It's a little bit rough on the pavement, but we'll just keep the yoke back.
Page 6-11 in the Airplane Flying Handbook states, for a short field takeoff, quote, if the airplane manufacturer recommends the use of flaps, they are extended to the proper amount before beginning the takeoff roll. Now, in the 1976 Cessna 172M, the Pilot's Operating Handbook, or the POH, states, quote, the use of 10 degrees of flaps will shorten the ground run approximately 10%, but this advantage is lost in the climb to a 50-foot obstacle. Therefore, the use of 10 degrees of flaps is reserved for minimum ground runs or for takeoff from soft or rough fields.
I don't want flaps in there because it's not a tremendous priority to get the wheels off the ground as soon as possible, because the flaps come at a cost. As soon as it'll help us get wheels off the pavement as soon as possible, but once we're in the air, all the flaps are going to do is slow us down and stunt our climb.
Flaps help take the weight off your wheels sooner, so it's great for a soft field takeoff if this were grass or rough dirt, or if we have a pretty short runway. Once you're off the ground though, the flaps are only going to hinder your climb. So our verdict for this takeoff is no flaps. We have over 3,000 feet of runway available for the takeoff run. That leaves this Skyhawk at this weight and density altitude plenty of room to climb away from the obstacles and terrain off the other end.
Oil's at 101, so we're good to go. No airplanes or vehicles behind us. Holding the brakes. Throttle to 1700. Do a carb heat test. Rise in the carb temp. Stabilized on the EGTs, back in. Right mag. Smooth drop. Rise in 4 EGTs. Back to both. Left mag. Rise in all 4 EGTs. Smooth drop. Within tolerance of each other. Back to both. Amps, volts are both in the green and charging the battery. Oil pressure and temp. Engine's running great. Throttle friction lock adjust. Pre-takeoff checklist. Flaps set 0 degrees. We're not using flaps.
Another thing worth mentioning, there are Halter Ranch staff awaiting our departure down there, likely to get a shot of us flying over. There are also people having a nice lunch on the patio that will have a great view of our takeoff. In the regulations, 14 CFR 91.119 covers low altitude restrictions and minimum safe altitudes. It lays out those that apply anywhere, those that apply over congested areas, and those that apply over non-congested areas. But all of these limitations are preceded by, quote, except when necessary for takeoff or landing. The key word there is necessary. It's one thing if we need to keep the nose down to build up required speed. It's another if we are intentionally staying low to show off. I have nothing to prove to anybody, and neither do you. We're going to get airborne as soon as the plane is ready. We're going to gently climb out of ground effect as we accelerate to 78 knots indicated, or VY, and we'll climb out turning slightly to the left to avoid flying directly over that big tasting room. If our engine has any sort of an issue after this takeoff, I don't want to find out when the only thing right in front of and below us is a building full of people.
Abort plan. If we're not getting airborne by that windsock, we should chop the power and get on the brakes. Loved ones notify. We're about to take off. Pre-takeoff checklist complete. I'm ready if you are.
Yeah, you want me to give him a heads up?
Yep.
Halter Ranch traffic, Skyhawk 80991, departing runway 22, we'll make a right climbing pattern. Depart VFR to the south, Halter Ranch.
Got nothing behind us.
This is Halter Ranch. Ground, thank you for visiting. Wishing you a safe homeward journey. Over now.
Hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks for everything.
Alright, brakes off. Takeoff power set. Better than 2300, cylinders look good, airspeed's alive. Little back pressure here. Take the pressure off the nose, there's 40 knots. There's 50 knots. 55. Gain a little speed before we start climbing out here between these buildings here.
Watch those birds. Oh, there's so many sheep out in this vineyard.
Alright, engine's looking good.
Oh, there's some more Bay Rock.
Yeah.
It's so green. I love it.
It was yet another beautiful flight as we made our way back to Santa Maria over the rolling green hills at the doorstep of the Pacific. Chelsea and I were a bit torn on whether we should instead jump up to Monterey from Halter Ranch, which is only 70 nautical miles to the north. We've heard amazing things about that area and the world-class aquarium, of course, but we ended up deciding to head back to get some work done instead. But we have some big life changes for us on the horizon that will yield an opportunity for a 2,000-mile road trip to include that place soon. After these little trips, the real work on this content begins. Organizing footage from all of the cameras, writing the voiceovers, digging up FAA and training material to reference. It all takes time, probably about 1 to 2 hours of work per minute of video you see here. So we'll give ourselves a break and head back to base so we can get back to work before the next flying adventure begins.
American 2392, contact Santa Barbara departure, good day.
2392, good day.
Air 3 Bravo Sierra, traffic just departed runway 29er and Airbus American colors, currently at 1,300 climbing on a straight out departure. Report if you have that traffic in sight.
We're looking at the American Airbus, 553 Bravo Sierra.
Here's Cal Poly right here. I bet that's a freaking beautiful campus.
Ground envoy 3722 ready to taxi. We have information, Juliet.
It's up against the hill here.
Alpha running 29.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's the university.
So pretty.
That was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
It definitely like made me feel more like we experienced California while we've been here. Like we've experienced the surfer beach town, Pismo Beach a couple times. We had dinner in San Luis Obispo. We've eaten in Santa Maria a couple times. Gone hiking through the dunes to the beach. We went overlanding in the Santa Ynez Mountains up there, which are those tall peaks.
Convoy 3722, San Luis Tower, wind 300 at 8, runway 29er, clear for takeoff.
You're taxiing on and then I'll cross
that little lake right up there is Oso Flaco, where it's like the dark vegetation cutting through the dunes. That's the trail there.
So nice.
I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Yeah, we should.
Alright, we have information November. Descent checklist complete, ready on the pre-landing checklist. I'm going to go ahead and put ground in the standby for you.
Alrighty.
Experimental 3 Bravo C, crossing the approach end of runway 30 and taxiway Hotel, clear to land.
Okay, we're crossing the approach end of 30, clear to land on the hotel.
Yeah,
we have the leader in sight, 3 Bravo 0.
Santa Maria Tower, Skyhawk 809901, about 10 miles north of the field, 4,200 descending with November.
Skygate 0991, Santa Maria Tower, make right traffic, runway 30, Port Midfield.
Right traffic for 30, will report midfield, 809901.
Easy enough. I'll go ahead and hand fly it. Autopilot is off. I'm going to load the visual 30 just for added situational awareness.
Skyhawk 991, you might see traffic 1 to 2 o'clock, 3 miles. They're in a right turn for the left downwind 30 to glass here, 3000 indicated.
809901, we're going to be looking for that traffic fix.
Yeah, I don't see them yet.
The tower, Bonanza 1563 Whiskey is inbound on the RNAV 30 approach. And
keep seeing those boats out in the water and thinking that's an airplane. There should be an airplane passing over the top of us. There they are. Pre-landing. Seatbelt shoulder harnesses are strapped in.
Glasser 8 Alpha Golf, you're in front of a Bonanza on a 6-mile funnel. You're number 1, runway 30, clear to land.
Clear to land for 8 Alpha Golf. Thank you.
Bonanza 63 Whiskey number 2, following Glasser left midfield downwind.
Aero minimums. I just set 500 in there. 1300 set pattern altitude.
991 number 3, following Bonanza 5-mile funnel.
Number 3, following a Bonanza 809901.
Alright, I'm just looking to level off here then. I'm going to set this for 2000. I'm actually going to climb up a little bit again since we're extending downwind out over some terrain. Fuel selectors on both.
Bonanza 63 Whiskey, the Glasser is turning left base number 2, runway 30.
Wait for the wide arc on flaps. Pre-landing checklist complete.
I got the glass air.
Okay, they're in the bank, right?
Yes. I do not have the Bonanza.
We're going to keep our downwind, keep our ground track parallel to the runway, make sure we're not like crabbing and drifting into the final approach path, because even though we're flying runway heading, doesn't mean we're flying runway track.
Yeah, and we do have a crosswind of 15 knots.
Direct crosswind of 15 knots.
Bonanza 63 Whiskey, you might see additional traffic. It's a Cessna on the right downwind, a beam the number southeastbound at 2000. They're going to follow you.
I got the glass air landing.
Okay.
Skyhawk 991, that Bonanza's just offset to the south. They're on the GPS, about a 2.5 mile final, 1,800, 1 o'clock.
Do you see them?
Not yet.
809901, we just saw the glass air. Look at Bonanza now.
Skyhawk 991, roger.
Bonanza in sight, 809901.
Skyhawk 991, follow the Bonanza, you're number 2, runway 30, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 30, number 2, 809901.
Bonanza 63 Whiskey, the Skyhawk heading to the right at 2000 has you in sight and will follow.
Great, 63 Whiskey, thanks.
I mean, dang, we could have landed way before them.
Yeah, they're kind of slow, but if they're on an instrument approach, then they...
He doesn't want to complicate it.
Yeah, I think they have like certain separation minimums that are a little different. Alright, returning base.
I'm just out there.
I have found that if you're opposite direction of traffic, they're coming in on final and you're extending your downwind for them, by the time they cross your wing, if they are a like type aircraft, so like similar to us in speed, And that's a Bonanza, so they're likely going to be coming in a bit faster than us. So basically, as soon as they are abeam our wing, I'm good to turn base. There should be plenty of separation. Alright, carb heat's out, the pre-landing checklist is complete. The only thing we haven't done yet is add flaps. Gear is down and bolted since 1976. Actually, 1978. This airplane had a gear up landing.
Or a landing that brought the gear up.
It was a landing that brought the gear up.
Alright, I see them touching down right about the 1,000 footers.
Okay, Alpha 6, it's straight ahead, and we'll monitor ground 6.
Right, we're letting her slow down just a little bit. We're putting the wide arc. 1,1000, 2,1000, 3,1000. Flaps set 10 degrees. We can get a little bit more nose down. We are high on final, and I'm okay with it.
500.
500 AGL, 78 knots. Pretty good on speed for this far out. I am at idle, so if our engine were to quit right now, we would actually get better glide distance.
Minimums. Minimums.
Runway in sight. Continue. 1,1000, 2,1000, 3,1000. Flap set 20. Flap set 30.
Water bottle.
Yeah. Alright, into ground effect. Here's the round out, arrest the descent. And hold it off, hold it off. Keep adding back pressure. And gently touch the runway. Very gentle brake pressure so that we can make Alpha 6.
991, taxi to Alpha, monitor ground point under.
Alpha and over to ground. We'll monitor 80901.
Carb heat's in, flaps are coming up. I did not push in carb heat on short final like I normally do. Alright, welcome back.
We rolled into the ramp to top 991 off the fuel and tied her down, ready for the next adventure. I want to put out quality stuff here on YouTube. I could be posting simple edits of the in-flight footage with the intercom and iPad and call it a video, and I used to do that about 12 years ago. But context really matters to me. The intricate thoughts and strategies we employ to minimize risk and make decisions are worth capturing and worth sharing. There's always a deeper story hidden behind every flight, every trip, and every memory we set out to make. In the next episode, hellacious bands of storms are relentlessly harassing the Central Coast where we're staying. But our good friend Brian Ford up at ACI Jet at the San Luis Obispo Airport said they have some room in the maintenance hangar if I want 991 out of the wind, rain, and hail for a couple days. We'll discuss a pilot's responsibility for the aircraft beyond flying it. Even when it's tied down on the ramp and you're off doing something else, it is still your responsibility to take care of it and protect it. Be sure to give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on those future episodes. And until next time, you know the drill. I want you to stay happy and healthy, stay current in your flying, but most importantly, stay proficient. We'll see you in the next video right here on the Central Coast of California. Fly safe.